Ahoy! Welcome to my home on Treasure Island. My name is Captain Kim. Even though we can't be at the sailing center today, I'm still really excited that you're here and that you want to learn more about our ocean. There are a lot of really massive changes going on right now in the world, and some of those changes are happening in the ocean as well. And they're happening beneath the surface. So today, I would like to invite you to do an experiment with me so we can learn a little bit more about what goes on underneath the surface. And this experiment can be done with stuff you might already have in your kitchen. So if you don't have these things in your kitchen today, don't worry about it. You can just follow along with me in this video, or you can go and get the supplies later and do it by yourself.
So some materials that you're going to need for this experiment are vinegar, and you might already have some in your home. This will represent our future oceans. I'll explain more on that later. And you'll need an egg. So white or brown is okay. I have a white egg today. And you'll also need a cup. So this cup can be clear plastic or glass. We just want to be able to make some observations. So make sure it's clear as it can be. Because we're doing science today, we'll need a way to record our results. That means write it down in a notebook or take a video or some photos as we go through the experiment. Okay, yolks, this is our egg-shelling specimen. I hope that my egg puns will crack you up. They don't always go over easy. Sometimes they get a little scrambled up. I guess they're a really quiche sort of humor. We need to make some observations about the status of our egg. So what do you notice? How big is it? I notice a dog hair right there. Well, let's try and measure it. So I'm measuring in centimeters, and because my egg is kind of round. I mean, all eggs are kind of round, but it just helps me get a more accurate reading. I have 6 centimeters. So I'm going to go back to making more observations. To make really good observation as scientists, we need to be as specific as possible. So maybe you want to record the color and how hard the egg is, or maybe you want to draw it in your notebook.
The experiment that we are going to be doing in our very own homes is about ocean acidification. And it goes hand in hand with climate change. What is ocean acidification? You're hopefully going to be able to answer that question by the end of this video. But what I will tell you now is that it really hurts creatures that have shells. Can you think of some creatures that live in the ocean that have shells? Think about them and keep them in mind while we do this experiment.
I really like crabs, so I think I'm going to draw one on my eggshell. This main part of the body is called the carapace. Now I'm going to draw on some of my crab legs. How many crab legs do you see? You can do some research about creatures that live in shells in the ocean and draw one on your egg too. Once you draw your sea creature on, let the science begin. First things first, we'll need to pour our vinegar into our jar. Then we're going to tilt the jar and slowly drop in our egg. We want to make sure to be really careful because if the egg cracks, then we won't get the same results. So we're going to put our egg in the vinegar and let it hang out in the jar for 24 hours. But right after you put the egg in, you might start to notice some changes. For those of you at home, we can watch the egg and make some observations together. I just used that knife so I could rotate my egg. I wanted to keep an eye on my crab. What do you notice? I'm gonna get a closer look and get this egg in focus. There we go. Nice and clear. Things look a little different, huh? I'm not touching the jar at all. I just put the egg in the vinegar. What do you notice? What do you wonder about this experiment? Does it remind you of anything? Whoa, did you see that? Wow. What do you think's going on? Make some predictions. I'm just going to spin the jar around so that those of you at home can see a full 360 of our egg. Now this egg has only been in here for a few minutes. What do you think is going to happen if I leave it in here for 24 hours? I'll post some updates as we go along. Whoa, did you see that? Yeah, the bubbles that are on this egg right now is actually carbon dioxide, or CO2. Carbon dioxide is the same thing that makes soda pop bubbly, and it's also a greenhouse gas, which is contributing to climate change. And we're going to learn more about greenhouse gases later in this video. Oh my gosh, my crab is gone. Where is it? Where's my crabby friend? Do you see it anywhere? That might be part of it at the top. Huh. Yeah, I definitely see some legs in there. Dang. Wow, well, the egg is also floating this time. When we started the experiment, the egg was sitting at the bottom of the jar. Now I'm going to give you a little 360 action again. Why do you think the egg is floating this time? Okay, drum roll please. All right, so this is crazy. I need to get a closer look at this. I'm going to dump out the vinegar into the sink, and my hand is ready to catch that egg. Boom. Wow, that foamy stuff, it feels like just like soap. And the egg is like, it's like almost like a water balloon. It's really squishy. So here's a comparison of the egg from the vinegar and an egg that didn't go in vinegar. And I want to do some tests now. So I'm going to just drop the egg and make some observations. So yeah, they're still rolling around, but this one I think kind of bounces a little bit more. Definitely feels like a water balloon. Like it feels really rubbery. So it says that it's still 6 centimeters, and just for fun, I'll measure the other one. They look like they're the same length. I'm definitely noticing that one egg is larger than the other, so it would have been good to measure the diameter of the egg too.
Hey, so let me explain a little bit about what just happened. So shells, like our eggshells, are made from calcium carbonate, right? And so calcium is a mineral that is found in our bones. And so these, right, are kind of like bones for creatures that don't have skeletons like ours. And they're known as invertebrates. And invertebrates, a lot of the times, have exoskeletons, like our crab. Our crab, right, its crab shell provides structure for the crab. What else do you think a shell can help do? Right, if I'm a predator, like a bird, right, and I'm trying to get this clam and I'm pecking at it, right, I know the inside of the clam has a lot of really yummy stuff inside of it, but the shell is preventing me from getting to it. But with our shell in the experiment, that one started to change, didn't it? It didn't get harder. No, it did the opposite. It got softer. And if I'm a bird that has a really sharp beak, right? It's going to be easy pickings for me. And the clams won't have a chance. And other creatures that have a shell won't have a chance either. It'll be really hard for them to grow, and it'll be really hard for them to survive in those types of conditions. And so pH, right, is kind of what scientists are tracking, and what they're predicting our future oceans are going to look like is they're going to be more acidic, which is really bad for creatures that have shells. So I'll show you what the pH of our vinegar is.
The pH scale is used to measure if something is acidic or basic. Our future oceans are predicted to become more acidic, and we can measure that using a pH strip. Notice how the color will change after I dip it into the vinegar. Now I'm going to use this pH strip and I'll compare it to one that I haven't dipped in the vinegar yet. Do you see how the colors are different? I'll use my test strip and compare it to the key. The pH scale goes from 0 to 14, 14 being the most basic. Right now, our oceans are approximately at an 8.1 pH, which means they're slightly basic. Based on what we see here, what do you think the pH of vinegar is? Remember, the lower the number is, the more acidic the solution is.
So, why is the pH in our oceans changing? That's a great question. Do you remember yesterday when I showed you that climate change and oceanification go hand in hand? Well, that's true. So I'm going to have to teach you a little bit about climate change so you can understand what ocean acidification is. So have you ever been sitting in a car on a really hot summer day? What happens? If the windows are up, right, it starts to get a little stuffy in the car. It gets a little warm. Maybe like as soon as you step in the car after you go grocery shopping or you're waiting for your friends or something, as soon as you roll the window down, all that heat can escape, right? Well, think about our greenhouse gases, right, which is coming from burning fossil fuels. So when a car, right, burns gasoline, that's a fossil fuel. So when a car burns gas and it goes into our atmosphere, it traps the heat from the sun on our planet. The same way the windows of a car trap heat inside the car. So as those greenhouse gases are heating up the planet, this is known globally as the greenhouse gas effect. And the ocean, our beloved ocean, is acting like a sponge for all these greenhouse gases, and it's soaking them out of the air and into the ocean, which is changing the pH and making it more acidic. And as the ocean is changing, it's becoming more acidic, it's becoming more warm. The ocean is the driver of our climate, right? It's the one that makes our weather. And all creatures on Earth are affected by that. And we're just along for the ride.
What can we do now that we're along for the ride?
I know sometimes that can feel really scary, like it's out of our control, like many things that go on this planet. So I decided I wanted to make some art about it. It says, different houses in the same home, right? Because there's all these different sea creatures that have shells, but they all live in the ocean together. And this helped me feel better because I feel like now I have the power to create awareness and talk about it with my friends and family. And you have that power too. We also have the power to make observations, which is what earth scientists are doing. They, every day, are taking data around the world to help monitor these changes over time so we can start making real predictions about what's going to happen in our future. Well, I hope you have so much fun doing this experiment in your own homes, and I really appreciate you joining me today. So take care and be well. Until next time, stay safe.